as far as regulating temperature in a cook, a lot of people sit there, they'll go, nah, you need the door open, the door shut, the vent in the door needs to be open, the vent in the door needs to be shut. To be honest with you, the door doesn't make a huge difference to the temperature that's in your camp oven. In your smoker oven. So what makes the difference and controls the temperature that your smoker oven runs at is two main things. Now the first one is the size of the pieces of wood. If you're burning natural dry seasoned timber in the unit, you'll need to have the unit, there's some bits and pieces we'll go through on that very shortly. So what you're burning is a big part of it. The other big part is this unit here. Now that comes as part of the smoker kit, and a lot of people put it in the wrong place. I've seen so many people putting that attachment, flue attachment, on the main flue of your OzPig. Now, it's not the way to go. Included with the OzPig smoker, you'll get this little cap. That little cap fits on the standard 50mm flue of the OzPig, and so you cap off the standard flue on the body with that cap. Now it's important to note not to do that until you have the pig in a good fire. So before you cook, you should be lighting the unit up about 30 to 40 minutes before you're ready to actually start putting some temperature into the oven properly and be ready to load your food. The smoker doesn't take long to get up to temperature. If you light the pig, get the pig hot, then open up the flue on the smoker and close the flue on the pig body itself, so the main flue. A lot of people like to light the smoker, light the pig with the smoker on, the flue open, and just cap the flue straight off on the OzPig body. Now, I mean, I can't say it doesn't work, because it does. I just prefer to ignite the fire, getting as much natural airflow through the pig as I can, so that I can build up as many hot coals in the bottom of the pig as I can, as quickly as I can. So, hence the reason I let the pig run there for about an hour, because those coals are one of the key parts of us getting the temperature in this little baby to be regular. I mentioned before in regards to what you're burning as to what temperatures you will get. Now, I cook most of the time straight over burning timber. I do, yes, keep and use at times lump charcoal. I've used heat beads in the past as well. Personally, I'm a bit concerned as to a heat bead, what's actually in it. Whereas at least this, the lump charcoal, you can see it's a piece of timber. So I'm still cooking with wood. So on the timber front, obviously when you're lighting the pig, keep the pieces of timber fairly small. Get the pig started, get it as hot as you can, as fast as you can. So that's maximum airflow, a clear flue, door open, and you'll find the pig will light very, very easily, and you'll produce minimal amounts of smoke. So what's the ideal size of a piece of timber? Well, the size of the timber should be dictated, I feel, by the temperature you're running the smoker at. The higher the temp, the smaller the timber. The reason being, you then go from having a smouldering larger lump of timber, something a little bit smaller where you get a little bit of flame and you get your coals. And then if you go down and you're running, you know, like you start piling your sticks in the unit, you're going to end up with a much higher temperature. It's going to burn with flame, it's going to produce a lot more airflow depending on how you set the pig up, and it will burn significantly hotter. So when I'm doing a slow cook, I'll use pieces of timber up to about so big. So basically the pig will slow down that burning process, and it will produce less flame, but that will sit there and burn slowly for longer. So that piece of timber could last me 40 minutes to an hour or more cooking at a low temperature. Cooking pizzas, go to a bit smaller piece of timber, so you're getting that that higher burn rate from the smaller pieces of timber. It does mean that you're putting a few more bits in as you go, especially here. I cook probably 8 to 10 pizzas a go, so all 3 shelves are in, 3 stones and 1 pizza after the other. It just smashes through. So it does a great job of cooking pizzas. I love cooking pizzas on it. So depending on what you're doing, your size of your timber should be changing a little, but I do very much recommend you wouldn't use a piece of timber much bigger than that. So my rough guide, if I grab a beer, my beer in the cooler, roughly the same space as the base of the beer would take up. That's the biggest I really burn in my OzPig. So generally on the lower, slower cooks, that'll be the size of piece of timber I would use. Alright, so let's burn some wood, and I will start to show you just how this whole process works. So here we are, crack out the matches, we'll give her a strike, and light that firelighter in the OzPig there. I've got the timber stacked in there in some nice small pieces so it lights nice and easy. Alrighty, so I've got the OzPig lit. And with the 3-inch flue we're getting plenty of air flow through the unit, so some of you may find that lighting it is better with the door open. Personally, because of the setup I've got, if I don't close that, if I close that door just that bit away from being completely shut with the vent open, I actually get that much air draw through the OzPig because of the larger flue that you can hear the OzPig actually suck air up the flue. Like it gets almost like a howling going on through the amount of heat and airflow that's drawing through the OzPig, so it does burn much more efficiently. But I mean, at the end of the day, lighting any fire isn't an overly complicated thing. So as long as you've got 3 components and you give plenty of each, it will work great. So in order to get a good fire, you need heat, you need air, and you need a fuel to burn. So I'm just going to use timber today, just some good seasoned gum, to show you guys how I cook. Personally, while I do use lump charcoal, I don't often cook over it, to be honest. I don't know why. I've just always been in a bit of preference to just using the timber itself. Yeah, just use gum most of the time. Occasionally I'll branch out and go and get some chunks of something in particular. If I'm cooking a specific meat, I might use some cherry with some lamb, and in which case when I go to the cherry chunks, then that's when I would switch over to the coal. Sorry, not coal, I would switch over to the lump charcoal to get the pig a nice consistent temperature, as well as be able to use those smoker chunks to get some nice smoking flavours through the food. But generally when I'm cooking red meat, which I'll do tonight, I'll just be burning some nice gum in there. As you can see, the fire's well alight and cranking along. As that burns down a little, I'll put some more timber in, and then I'll come back to you and show you a little bit more about regulating the temperature in your OzPig. So back soon. Let's burn some wood. Hey all, as you can see I'm starting to burn through the timber there as I start to rise up the temp. We're now cracking up closer to the 140 degrees. So I'm just going to go and position another couple of bits of timber into the belly there. As I spoke before, we want to try and maximise airflow through the pig. So I'll reposition the existing bits of timber so that I can do that. And then I just literally just build like a crisscross as I start to put these bits of timber in. I'm actually going to pop a little piece here, just over to the back there because there's a bit of opportunity to burn in there. And then I'll throw this big fella in here to keep us going low and slow for a while. So as you can see, the piece of timber there sitting quite up. That'll allow plenty of airflow in under the grate through to the back of the fire, so we're getting a nice consistent burn from front to back all the way through the OzPig. It makes a huge difference to being able to regulate a solid temperature. As you can see right now with the door open, I am getting a little bit of smoke back through, but I've still got the flue wide open coming off the smoker itself. So if I just prop that door just a little, so I'm not trying to restrict the airflow in. What I'm trying to do is just find the balance between how much air is coming in so that that's actually drawing through the pig rather than letting smoke come back up through the door as much. The advantage there is more heat travels through the OzPig smoker oven. So it helps you build up more temperature faster in the oven. So as you can see, I'm nearly cracking 150 now. It's getting up pretty close to that. So if we were to start baking in that in that oven, it'd do that quite well. I should stop doing that because it's starting to get a bit hot. As you can see, I'm getting up around that 150 now. I'm about 5 to 6 degrees away from it at the moment, and just as for this example and this purpose, that 150 mark is exactly where I'm trying to pull the pig back into. So if I start to close off that flue, I haven't changed the door and you can already see more smoke starting to pile out the front door. So I'm going to just gently push the door in a little to reduce the amount of smoke coming through from the front. But you'll see that temperature, we've now reached dead on the 150. I can see the needle still wanting to climb a little, but I'll leave it a moment. I'm not going to react straight away and adjust that. If I do that immediately, I'm not going to see what effect having it. I've got it about probably halfway shut now. And it's actually stopped rising and it's sitting almost dead pegged on 150. Now, obviously I've used this quite a lot and I knew to go around that halfway mark. That's why I could do it within 5 to 6 degrees. Now with a nice rich fire, I'll just flick that open so the second camera there can see exactly what's going on. We've got a nice hot fire in the bottom there, plenty of flame. 150 is quite hot when it comes to using the OzPig smoker. Normally I cook a lot of low and slow, like I've run this thing for 10-12 hours with a lump of meat sitting in the body of the smoker oven there, and I generally get some pretty nice meat out of it too. It comes out so beautiful and tender. If you're after a nice tender piece of meat, I can't recommend to you enough, cook it slowly, which is why it's important to be able to regulate that temperature in the oven. Now right now we've just creeped over the 150 mark actually, as the extra pieces of timber I've put in start to flame up a little more. So I'll just quite carefully just close that over. So we've still got quite a significant amount of movement still in that. but we're probably at about 2/3 closed now, with that fire burning the way it is there. I don't have huge plumes of smoke everywhere, but you can see that I am restricting the word restricting. Let's hold on to that for a sec. That's where your smoke comes from. You're restricting the fire from burning. I mentioned earlier that you need 3 things. You need heat, you need fuel, and you need air. Now if I take any one of those things and restrict one of them from the fire, we're going to see a lot of smoke. So an example I did a little earlier, I could see it out of the flue, but didn't see a lot of it in the pig itself, or come from the smoker. Now I've got plenty of temperature in the smoker. I'm going to do the example again and just show you exactly what happens. So, wide open vented door, you can already see I'm starting to get some significant smoke breaching from the smoker. So the smoker's working as a smoker quite well. However, we are running it a bit hotter at the moment at 150. Obviously, to drop the temp, I would quite simply now just keep shutting that flue adjustment to restrict the airflow a little bit more exiting the oven, which then in turn draws less air in. But if I was to try and adjust the temperature now by closing this door, I'll close it over, and almost instantly we start to see smoke peeling out from behind the door here, and it's quite a significant amount more smoke being produced by the fire, which is not ideal. Yeah, we'll see the temperature drop pretty quick, but it'll keep dropping because there's not enough opportunity for air to get into that fire and keep it alive. So you can see there now we're still getting lots of smoke through there. That'll continue to build up. I'm seeing the temperature gauge already react. Now to see a temperature gauge react that quickly is generally not good. That means we've over controlled the fire, and we're going to have a fast reaction in the smoker. It's okay for the smoker if you're trying to run it at about 100 degrees. I normally run, when I'm doing a low and slow, between 90 and 100, depending on what I'm cooking and how long for. I come down even below that at times as well. But if the fire accelerates and starts to get over your ideal temperature, don't panic, don't react, don't shut everything up and try and slow it down instantly. You don't have to be, bam, I've got to fix it now. Just slow down, take your time and let it react gently. Gently is a very important word. Fire is quite aggressive and it will react quickly if we're not operating it carefully. So I've choked the fire out that bad that I've almost put it out. So I open it up, we'll let some air back in there. I've still got that flue, let's just keep him there for the moment. And with the air coming through here, already it's gone back up to 150 and we're starting to accelerate past that. And that's because I'm overreacting using the door. It makes too significant a temperature change to the fire, to the breathing of the fire, and it will significantly vary the oven temperature, which is why a lot of people have this problem where it fluctuates heaps or it gets really hot. It's not, I don't have heaps of timber in there. There are only a couple of little small bits. You know, there's little bits burning, there's bigger bits burning, but there's not heaps in there. I don't have it over full because I want air to get in there and around it and keep it all running nicely. I'm getting a lot of smoke coming out now because I've just had it shut and it's trying to get going and breathing. Once it settles in and starts to burn nicely again, we'll see that temperature start to rise, which it is. We're pushing up close to 160 there, so I can close that off a little. As you can see, it's starting to burn quite well again. But the ideal way to control the temperature in your smoker is most definitely restrict your airflow from above your oven using the included flue inset there that comes with the smoker, as opposed to trying to use your door to control the fire. The fire, once it burns in and you've got a nice bed of coals in the body of the oven, then the fire control simply comes down to how much air you let pass through the oven, and you'll get nice, consistent and comfortable cooks, as opposed to bitter tasting, hard to control, huge amounts of effort cooking. I quite often will run this smoker and leave it for maybe up to an hour at a time, depending on what timber I'm burning and how long the overall cook process is. So I guess at the end of the day, give it some trial and error. Run it empty, like I am now. Look, there's nothing in there. This is all just an example for you guys, so that I can monitor that temp gauge and understand what's going on between the offset between the adjusting here in our flue versus adjusting the airflow getting into the fire. Now, well folks, as you've seen there, I've regulated the temperature on the OzPig, shown you a little bit more about how to do it, what I recommend as far as control's concerned. If you have any more questions on it, please feel free to drop me a line, happy to answer them. Hopefully this helps a lot of you in your cooking. Yeah, in the meantime, let's burn some more wood.